C'est le boo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I am your host, Harry Rice. You are listening to the funniest and friendliest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. And we have another game to talk about. Of course we do. Montreal playing the second game of a back-to-back. You're going to be hearing that a lot this season, given it's an Olympic season. Yesterday, of course, we played the Toronto Maple Leafs and narrowly beat them in a shootout. Tonight, it was a slogger of a game against the St. Louis Blues for the most part. The Canadiens, very, very boring hockey the past two games. And I feel like there should be concern, but I'm not entirely sure if there is. We'll talk about it as we get through the game. Before we do begin, I do want to say that I will be starting the DVD collection videos in the next couple days. I do have a little bit of an intro that I want to work on for those. It's not super complicated, but yeah, so if anybody was expecting that today, I apologize, but again, of course, the Canadiens played, so there wasn't going to be that today. Very decent chance there might be the video tomorrow, though, but of course, fingers crossed, hopefully I can do that, but we'll see. However, to talk about the Montreal Canadiens now, of course, I just want to mention that because it was off the top of my head. Didn't want to forget. So, yeah, there we go. Now, for the Canadiens, self-plug is over. We got to talk about the lines. For not just the Canadiens, but also the St. Louis Blues, of course. We've got that to talk about. And, there is one very notable line change that is not really at fault for Marty St. Louis, but we'll talk about it. If for those of you who don't know, are like, what happened? We'll see. The opening lines for the Canadiens were Caufield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Texier, Kapanen, Demidov, Anderson, Evans, Gallagher, and Davidson, Veleno, Bolduc. So firstly, sticking with the same lines that we did last night against Toronto, which, fair enough. At least with the forward core and the blue line, spoiler alert, Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hutson, and Jack-Eye Carrier. Very glad that top line was put back together. Now you just got to figure out the rest of the depth. Sorry, this game genuinely was super boring. I apologize. But, now you just got to figure out the rest of your depth. You got to go out and pull a trigger for Crosby, Elias Pettersson from Vancouver, Ryan O'Reilly from Nashville, somebody. I really hope we get something done before January, but I'm not holding my breath. Now, as for the goaltending, of course, as we know, Jakub Dobeš started yesterday's game, so in net tonight was Jakub Dobeš. Wait, what? Yeah, Jakub Dobeš starting both games on the back-to-back. Why? Well, we have a lot of faith in him, right? No. It turns out Samuel Montembeault got an illness today, which really sucks. So we've called up the goaltender of the future, Kaapo Kähkönen. No clue why. You're going to rely on Jakub Dobeš, who can barely play 2 complete games. And you're going to put him in the net instead of calling up Jacob Fowler. Yeah, after tonight's game, I'm pretty sure the guys are wishing that they would have had Fowler in net, because I'm sure he could have stopped something. But regardless, Kaapo Kähkönen will back up Jakub Dobeš. Hopefully Monty's good to go for the next game against the Lightning, because that is going to be... Because that is going to be a huge game, a must-win for the Canadiens. Not really must-wins in December, but you get what I mean. If it comes down to the final day of the regular season, then it's Montreal, Tampa fighting for the last playoff spot. Head-to-head matchups are what is the first tiebreaker, I'm pretty sure. So you kind of want to win every game you can against teams in your division. The opening lines for the Blues are Neighbors, Thomas, Buchnevich, Holloway, Dvorsky, Joseph, Sutter, Schenn, and Luff. Matt Luff, who they mentioned on the broadcast, playing his first game in about a year and a half. I think they said it was April 2023. So naturally, he was going to score tonight. No, he was actually incredibly forgettable. That shows you how bad the Blues depth is. And I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize, any Blues fans. Kaskimaki with Sundstrom and Bjorkstrand on the fourth line. Sundstrom, who, by the way, would not finish the game, unfortunately, as far as I know. On the blue line, it was Broberg, Parayko, Tucker, Falk, and Fowler, and Habs legend Logan Mailloux. Jordan Binnington, of course, will start for the Blues, so it should be a guaranteed win. Keyword should. Joel Hofer will back him up, of course, because he played last night in Ottawa. He actually had a really good game against the Senators, getting outshot 17, I believe it was, 17-2 in the first period alone. They would come back and end up actually winning that game 2-1, so yeah. The Blues' lack of goal scoring looks like it's going to be quite good for the Canadiens tonight. And of course, before the game, that was the only thing I wanted to mention was the Kakkonen. He was actually called up like 2 hours before the game. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, so, let's talk about this slog of a game now, shouldn't we? Alright, in the first period, Slavkovsky is a good steal in the zone. Genuinely, if I knew how slow this game was going to be, I probably could have tracked each note individually, and I would have had more notes than I actually ended up having. This game was a slog. Slavkovsky has a steal in the zone in the opening minute. There's a pass down. It gets to Caufield. The slapper is stopped by Binnington. Habs press. Gallagher can't get a pass. That ends up coming out. And the Habs go to a power play. 2:48 into the game. Logan Mailloux is called for a hook as the Canadiens were trying to press. The Blues get a clear. Suzuki and Caufield pass. That leads to a pretty good Hutson shot. He is clearly getting a bit more confident in his shooting. And I love to see that. I'm sure eventually he's going to start getting more goals. He's on pace for, I think, like 12 right now. Something like that. 12 to 14 goals. Just to see him get double-digit goals as a defenseman would be a really, really good thing. And, of course, fingers crossed for that. We'll see if he can score tonight. But, again, he looked good on the power play early. Yeah, that does get stopped. Blues clear. Second unit press. Dobson has a slapper that's deflected out. Yeah, Dobas just came out of the net. He decided to join the guys on the power play. I wish you were given that option because that would be very funny to see what happens. Slav has his last second chance to Caufield. And that, my God, that is just wide of the net. The Habs are 0-for-1 on the power play tonight. Habs second line get a good look. Kapanen loses one. Matheson does as well seconds later. Texey ends up breaking in. The shot does get stopped. That's during a Blues line change. The Habs lead the shots 6-1 7 minutes in. And then Bolduc gets called for a slash at 8 minutes. Blues have the power play. Habs get a clear. Evans is actually pretty aggressive. He nearly gets a turnover, but just looking to kill off time, which, fair enough. The game is scoreless. That's what you want to do. Blues press. There's a good clear by Andy. Blues come back in. They cycle it, and they score. Brayden Schenn with his 5th goal of the year scores on the power play. Because, of course, who else would it be? Mike Matheson, not covering his man. Have I mentioned yet that Mike Matheson has been complete trash defensively since getting his extension? I want to trade Mike Matheson so badly. But yeah, Matheson doesn't cover his man. He gets too aggressive. He's literally covering nobody in the slot. And he tries to come back, but it's too late. Schenn scores from Fowler and Holloway at 8:57. The Habs, unfortunately, 0-for-1 on the... Oh, God. Habs are 0-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. Blues look for the 2-goal lead, but they don't get any shots. That would be a theme tonight. The Habs get a near rush, but Binnington makes an easy cover. Blues then get a rush. Bad D coverage leads to a wide open net. And somehow they don't score. No clue how they didn't score there, but the Habs get lucky. There's a 4th line press, a bit of board play, and then, my God, the Montreal Canadiens score. And that's not a miracle. But what a goal. Showing up Mike Matheson, showing how you join a rush play, or showing how you join the offense without costing your team. Lane Hutson in the slot, gets a pass, dangles out Jordan Binnington, sends him looking for his jock in the 19th aisle, goes forehand, backhand, buries it into the net at 12:20. Lane Hutson ties it up with his 5th goal of the game. He scores that from Bolduc and Jared Davidson with his first National Hockey League point in his career. Good for him. He breaks a 6-game pointless drought. I wasn't really counting it because he hadn't scored at this point, because let's be honest, when you first come into the league, it's not a scoring drought until you have a point, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see what he's got going on after this game. Hopefully this kicks him up and he ends up helping the fourth line get a few goals every now and then. But, yeah, just a beauty of a goal for Lane Hutson. That ties the game up, and the Canadiens look to have momentum, because the third line has a chance. This Gallagher wrister, but that's deflected out. He didn't see it, but he really kind of had space. He could have waited a second or two longer if he wanted to get a good shot off, but he doesn't, which, fair enough. Habs do ice the puck twice, and then they go offside. Habs, Dobesh makes a stop back the other way. There's a 2-on-1 for the top line, but that ends up going nowhere. Jackeye then has a nice hit on Nick Bukestad. Binnington comes out to play the puck, but nearly turns it over. Binnington was all over the puck tonight. Anytime it came around his zone, he'd come out, he'd play it. That's the one thing I like about his game. Of course, as we know, he is complete trash this year. He's probably one of, if not the worst goaltenders, one of the worst, if not the worst starting goaltenders in the National Hockey League, I should say. But yeah, no, that's the one thing I like about his game, that he's not afraid to help out the offense and get things started. He's not afraid to do that. That I like. Lots of turnovers in center ice for like a minute. Neither team gets control. The Habs do finally. There's a look for Caufield in the left circle, but that's saved. Gallagher ends up going to the back with 2 minutes left. He also left yesterday's game. He would be back out just like in yesterday's game. Enunciating is very hard, I'm sure you can tell. He's back out to start the next period with the boys. Probably would have been better without him, let's be honest. However, before we can get to the end of the period, the Canadiens score with 57 seconds left. They play the boards. Dobson goes to Suzuki. He finds Caufield in the slot, surprisingly. He's usually at that circle. In the slot. And Caufield scores. Goal. Caufield makes it 2-1 with 57 seconds left. That is an 11-game point streak for Cole Caufield. I believe still best in the league. Or top of the league, I should say, in active point streaks. So, yeah, Canadiens look like they're going to have momentum. As we know, those goals in the first and last minutes are absolute ball breakers for any team. And the Canadiens are going to have that momentum going into the second. These shots are 11-4 for the Canadiens. They've got a 2-1 lead for them after the first period as well. In the second period, it's 2-2. Dobesh really overcommits on a 2-on-1. He gets deked out by, of all guys, Dylan Holloway, who just puts it home in a backhand. Bad D play by Struble to cause the 2-on-1. Horrible play by Dobesh, who was really comfortable in yesterday's game, and today just no. Yeah, so the Blues score on their fifth shot. It's 2 goals, and yeah, so you know what? Hey, 26 seconds in, just let it brush by you. Holloway scores from Schenn and Parayko. Yeah, and then it's also 3-2 St. Louis. Matheson doesn't care about playing defense. He doesn't actually cover Pavel Buchnevich, who is right in front of the net. He just acts like he's caring about defense. Thomas just throws it right to Buchnevich, and he ends up putting it home. Yeah, Buchnevich, like I said, he scores. That's his 5th of the year from Thomas and Falk at 1:05. So the Canadiens allowed 2 goals in 49 seconds. Bad defense is really the key there. Bad defense and an overcommitted goaltender. That probably should be the title for this episode. It's not going to be. It's going to be Boring Blues, more than likely. But, yeah. So, Evans gets cross-checked from behind. There's no call. Galley puts one behind Binnington almost. Dobesh has another given-up rebound on a long-range shot. He is horrible at giving up the... I could stop it. He is horrible, and I'm sure most people would be like, yeah, fair enough. But no, he is horrible at handling the rebounds. And, yeah... He needs to control those better. No clue what he was doing there. Habs do clean it up, though. Second line presses. Kapanen looks like he's tripped up. There's no call. He then gets a wide open net seconds later, but he just misses it. Demidov finds Texier. Both men actually end up with a chance, but they just can't put it home. But Canadiens go to a power play. Shortly after, it is a 2-minute minor to the bench for too many men. That comes at 4:49. Now's the time to tie it up. Blues get a clear. Habs do set up. Suzuki finds Demidov off the pad of Binnington, though. That sucks. Second unit press. Gallagher, for some reason, not going to the front of the net. That's where he is paid to go on the power play. And he says, nah, let me go behind the net. I'll be safer there. And yeah, just nothing. Texier's open, but Dobson just can't find him. The Habs are 0 for 2 on the power play. Habs top line gets some puck control, but nothing towards the net. Habs press. The fourth line has a chance. Davidson is wide of the net. Habs were in control, but they just can't find the back of the net. Slafkovsky ends up breaking up a Blues scoring chance. Dobesh holds on a neighbor's shot in the left corner. Dobesh then covers on a loose puck after another Blues chance. There's a small scrum afterwards. Fourth line, Davidson gets a look, but that's wide. Hutson with 2 looks, and those are wide as well. Damn it, the Canadiens probably should have had 30-plus shots tonight. If they were able to shoot on net, firstly, this game is probably done and is a Canadiens win. But secondly, we probably have well over 30 shots if we're able to hit the net on most of the chances that were ended up wide and being blocked by the Blues. That was the Blues' one good thing they did tonight was shot block. A lot. Dobson has good vision to jump into the circle. The shot is held by Binnington, though. Not a ton of momentum in terms of in terms of how do I want to put this? In terms of maintained momentum. There's usually shot, it's held, maybe 2 shots, it's held, gets cleared to center, maybe it's iced. There was a lot of breaking up one team's momentum by the other team. Really not a lot of entertaining hockey, which fair enough. You're playing to win. You're not playing to put on an entertaining game and then lose. You're playing to win, and however you can do that is how you can do that. Yeah, this is where I mentioned that Binnington's very often coming out to play a puck. The Blues ice it. Habs were then sloppy late. They iced the puck with 4 minutes left. Binnington ends up losing his stick. The Habs try to press, but Holloway stops a great look in front, right in the slot, basically, with his stick. The fourth line then gets... Let me try that again. Words are very hard. The fourth line then gets hemmed in for a long time as the Blues press. I think they said 2 minutes for Davidson, Veleno, and Bolduc. Just insane. Habs do finally get the clear with a minute left. Habs look to press, and there's a penalty. Dobson's called for holding as the Canadiens were trying to rush. He's called for a hold. That just sucks. There's a one-timer in the right circle, right? Oh my god. In the right circle wide. The Habs do get a clear. Blues get a minute 30 of power play time to start the third. Shots are 18-10 for the Habs, and a 3-2 lead for the Blues. For the third period, the Blues set up early. There's pressure, but Andy gets a clear. Piotr Suter, the famed Vancouver Canuck, has a shot high and wide over the net. The Canadiens are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. Blues with pressure. Dobesh loses his puck as he sprawls for a save. Blues luckily can't get the wrap immediately after. Suzuki looks for a tip from Jackeye, but Binnington makes the save. Malieu, at this point, takes a puck to the chin. He gets bloodied up. Would stay in the game. Canadian people should probably stop trying to shot block with their face against the Canadiens, because it does not end well. McAvoy, I think, has lost, 20 pounds? Jesus, guys got to stop intentionally blocking shots with their face, man. Habs can't press after a Blues icing. Blues then get a couple looks the other way. This game has just, again, been low. I put low effort, but that's not what I meant. It was low chances. It's very much the opposite of a high-octane game. Very low-octane, if you will. Just not a lot. Jack has a hit along the boards on Schenn. There's a whistle. Holloway and Jack end up exchanging shoves. And it's 4-2 Blues. Halfway through the third, Dobesh can't stop a Schenn shot off of a very slow pass. Carey also has a bad pinch to allow the 2-on-1, but that's a easy. Dobesh should have been able to make that save. But regardless, he can't. I put this game as over, and hey, what do you know? That ended up being the game-winning goal. Schenn scores from Holloway and Joseph at 10:24. The Habs second line get a look after Texier gets hit hard. Demidov, good cycling. There's a wrap chance, but nobody's there. And then Anderson goes to the box. He runs interference on Binnington. We get a scrum behind the net. He throws punches at Tyler Tucker. And that's actually surprisingly called. I put Andy just ruined our hopes of coming back. But we're surprisingly, for some reason, going 4-on-4. Andy and Tucker both get called 2 for roughing. It's actually no, Andy gets called 2 for roughing. I'm looking right now. And Tucker's called 2 for cross-checking Anderson, which, if you're defending your goaltender, should it really get called? Probably not. Regardless, it's the lowly St. Louis Blues. Nobody's going to care if you give us a power play. Dobesh goes to the bench with, thank you, just play. I don't need to get my notifications, but thank you. Dobesh goes to the bench with 6 minutes left. Yeah, I thought it was a delayed penalty at first. I was like, oh, great, we're going to go 5-on-4. No, we're just going regular 5-on-4 because Dobesh is getting pulled. Well, not pulled, but he's getting pulled for the extra attacker. We're going 5-on-4. Yeah. Habs pull him again with 5 minutes left off of a draw that was at neutral. Habs do look, but there's nothing. During the, I guess 4-on-4 is what you could consider it. Texier and Hutson almost connect. Dobson has a shot in the crease. The rebound gets iced with 3:50 left. And the Canadiens score right off the draw. Dobson, beauty of a slapper, doesn't even get all of it, but it tricks Binnington enough. He makes it 4-3. Throw anything on the net. You never know what's going to go in. Dobson with now his 4th goal of the game. He scores that from Matheson and Ivan Demidov. That comes with just 3:45 left in the game. Can they tie it up? The Blues just try to kill time in the Habs zone for about a minute and a half. They're just playing keep away. You know, oh, yeah, pass it. Oh, no, I'll take it. Oh, no, he's open. He'll take it. You know, it's just bullshit play for bullshit play purposes. Habs get a turnover, but they go offside with 2:20 left. Habs a nice one with 2:05, but Texier ended up getting a piece of it, so the refs actually go to center, surprisingly. Canadiens do get in the zone. Dobesh back to the bench with 1:40 left. A Dobson shot, but he doesn't get all of it. Not like that never stopped him from scoring as of 2 minutes ago. The Caufield, he doesn't get all of that. Caufield has a shot deflected out of play. Marty calls his timeout with 30 seconds left. Habs do try to press, nothing in the net. And then a Hail Mary pass right in the slot to Caufield is the place where he scored in the first period. Doesn't get all of it, it looks like. Binnington squeezes his pads, and it's not in the net, and the game is over. So the Canadiens, who should have come out of this with 2 points, absolutely should have beaten one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. One of the most forgettable teams in the National Hockey League. No clue how he didn't. Absolutely unacceptable. Yeah, just horrible defense for 3 out of the 4 goals. You needed to play better. The team needed to be better, and the goaltender needed to be better, quite frankly. Even if most of them are even if 2 of them are because the defense played like shit. 4 goals and 18 shots is unacceptable. Like I said, Habs loses 4-3 in regulation. The final shots are 26-18 for the Canadiens. So a lot of shots between both teams. Just not a lot of shots total. Again, a very boring hockey game. Unfortunately, it should have been more entertaining than this, but alas, it was not. Let's just get to the stats and get this over with. Quite frankly, you guys, I'm sure, are very bored of listening to this game. You guys can tell by my notes, it sounded like a bad game. Let's get to the stats and then get on out of here. Alright, leading the Montreal Canadiens, of course, is Nick Suzuki, the captain, le capitaine, with 8 goals, 24 assists for 32 points. Goal Clutchfield, also known as Cole Caufield, has 16 goals, 15 assists for 31 points. He is on an 11-game point streak with 4 goals and 9 assists in that span. Ivan Demidov with 6 goals, 16 assists for 22 points. He's got 9 points in his last 9 games. If he's not leading the Calder race, I don't know who is. Lane Hutson's got 5 goals and 17 assists for 22 points. He's got 8 points in his last 9 games. If he's not leading the Calder race last year, I don't know who is. Noah Dobson's got 4 goals and 14 assists for 18 points. I believe that was his total all of his rookie season. A lot of rookies now. Yaroslav Kavsky with 9 goals and 7 assists for 16 points. Unfortunately, his 5-game point streak does come to an end, but he played very well tonight, I thought. Mike Matheson with 4 goals, 12 assists for 16 points. He is, of course, a -4 in his last 5 games. Oliver Kapanen has 8 goals, 6 assists for 14 points. Zach Bolduc with 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points. That's right. He finally passes Alex Newhook, who is unfortunately still hurt and has 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points. Brendan Gallagher with a goal and 9 assists for 10 points. He is on a 6-game pointless drought. And Josh Anderson with 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points. He is on a 7-game pointless drought. Jake Evans has 4 goals and 4 assists for 8 points. Alexander Carrier with a goal and 7 assists for 8 points. He is on a 5-game pointless drought. Kirby Dach, who is unfortunately hurt, has 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Jaden Struble has 4 assists. He is on a 9-game pointless drought. Caden Gooley, who is unfortunately still hurt, has a goal and an assist for 2 points. Alexander Texier has 2 assists. Joe Veleno has a goal. He is rocking an 8-game pointless drought. Arbor Jacki, Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still hurt, and Florian Jacki, who is in the A, along with Jared Davidson, all have 1 assist. Arbor Jacki also rocking a 24-game pointless drought. I believe that's actually at 25, but I can go back and check that later. I'm pretty sure that's 24, though. Arbor Jacki, regardless, also leads the team with 4 fights. Jaden Struble's got 2. Caden Gooley, Joe Veleno, and Florian Jacki all also have a fight. And as for the goaltenders, Jakub Dobesh has a 10-4-2 record. He has a 3.03 goals against average and an 890 save percentage. Samuel Montembeault with a 5-6-1 record with a 3.61 goals against average and an 861 save percentage. So yeah, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching, listening, however you're tuning in. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're on Spotify, Amazon, wherever else you might be listening to this. And please do not forget to share with anybody who you think might like the podcast, whether they're a Canadiens fan, a hockey fan looking for a Canadiens podcast, or just want to share with somebody who you think might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. Yeah, thank you all again so much for watching. My name is Harry Race. Again, DVD collection, those are coming intermittently in between the HabWrap, of course. So, yeah, be on the lookout for those videos. Again, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. And always remember, no matter how good we are like last year, how good we are like this year, or how great we'll be in the future, go Habs go, Allez Montreal, and say it with me everybody, C'est le but!